What if I told you that the life you're chasing, the success, the confidence, the clarity, isn't out there waiting for you, it's already inside you, buried beneath excuses, fear, and the stories you've been telling yourself. Today isn't just another day. It's the day you take ownership, because you don't owe it to anyone else, you owe it to you. You are responsible for your life. It's a truth that might feel heavy, maybe even overwhelming, but it's also the most powerful truth you can embrace. Every outcome, every result, every consequence, good or bad, in your life is ultimately tied back to your decisions, your habits, and your beliefs. The moment you truly internalize that, everything begins to shift. Most people live life reacting to circumstances, waiting for something or someone to save them or to open a door, to fix things, to explain why they're stuck. But when you stop pointing fingers and start pointing the thumb, looking at yourself, you take back your power. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that ever went wrong. It means recognizing that you are the only one with the power to change it. You can't control the weather, the economy, your past, or other people's choices. But you can always control your next move. That's where freedom begins. When you take responsibility, you stop being a victim. You stop surrendering your life to your history, your environment, or someone else's opinion. You begin to write your story with intention. Think about it. If you always believe that your life is in someone else's hands, then you've given away the pen. You've handed over authorship of your story to the world. But if you decide today that you are responsible for where you go from here, then you can start turning the page and writing something new. Responsibility isn't just a burden, it's a gift. Because if it's on you, then you can change it. You can rebuild it. You can reinvent it. Too many people are waiting for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect person to validate them. But perfection is the enemy of progress. The conditions will never be perfect. Life is messy. It's unpredictable. But the truth is, if you wait for life to hand you what you want, you'll wait forever. You have to demand more of yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not staying here. That's the mindset shift that separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. It's not about motivation or hype, it's about deciding that your life matters enough to fight for it. When you own your choices, you get clarity. You stop living by default and start living by design. You begin to recognize that success isn't a result of luck or genetics or some secret formula. It's the product of consistent, intentional action. And that starts with taking full responsibility. Not just for what's happened, but for what happens next. Most people won't do it because it's easier to complain, to deflect, to blame. But the ones who rise are the ones who own everything. The wins, the losses, the in-betweens. And use all of it as fuel to grow stronger. Keeping promises to yourself is one of the most powerful and underrated acts of self-respect. Every day, people set goals, make resolutions, declare their intentions. Whether it's waking up early, going to the gym, starting a business, breaking a bad habit, or simply speaking up for themselves. But time and time again, they break those commitments. Not to others, but to themselves. And with every promise broken, something inside begins to erode. Confidence starts to weaken, belief fades, and soon enough, a person no longer trusts their own word. That's the silent killer of dreams. Not external failure, but internal betrayal. Because if you can't rely on yourself, how can you move forward? When you say you'll do something and you don't, your brain registers that. You begin to build an identity around inconsistency. Even if it's unconscious, you start to believe you're someone who doesn't follow through, and that belief seeps into everything you try to do. On the other hand, every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce strength. You tell your brain, I'm someone who finishes what I start. I follow through. I am dependable. And from that identity, real momentum builds. Confidence is not a gift, it's built one small win at a time. It's waking up when you said you would, going for the walk you promised yourself, skipping the drink, sending the application, doing the uncomfortable thing again and again, until it's no longer a struggle but a habit. The key is consistency over intensity. It's not about grand gestures. It's about doing what you said, especially when you don't feel like it. Distractilance of discipline is not about how you act when you're motivated. It's about how you act when you're not. Most people are great at keeping promises to others. They won't miss a work deadline. They'll show up for their friends. They'll fulfill their duties in relationships. But they'll break a promise to themselves without hesitation. And that's a dangerous double standard. Because when you constantly prioritize other people's expectations while ignoring your own, you begin to lose sight of who you are. You live externally validated but internally disconnected. You become productive but not fulfilled. Keeping promises to yourself is about realignment. It brings your actions into harmony with your values. It's not about being perfect, but about building integrity within yourself. It's saying, I matter. My goals matter. My time matters. My standards matter. It's no longer letting your excuses be louder than your potential. When you make a habit of honoring your own word, you don't need outside validation. You don't need applause or approval. You start to carry a different energy. An unshakable belief that comes from evidence, not empty hype. And that belief is contagious. People sense it. Opportunities are drawn to it. You begin to operate at a higher level, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Keeping promises to yourself is the foundation of personal power. And when you protect that trust with yourself, everything else starts to change. Life doesn't improve by chance, it improves by decision. Most people wait. They wait for the right time, the right mood, the right opportunity, the perfect alignment of circumstances. They wait for motivation to show up like some magical wave that will carry them toward their dreams. But life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who decide. The decision to change, to grow, evolve. It always starts in a moment. One decision. That's all it takes to shift the trajectory of a life. Waiting is the enemy of progress because it creates a passive relationship with time. It puts your future in the hands of chance rather than in the strength of your will. You can wait and hope, or you can decide and act, and only one of those leads to transformation. The truth is, most people are not lacking ability. They're lacking clarity and commitment. They haven't made the decision. They say they want to lose weight. They say they want to get out of debt. They say they want to start that business or repair that relationship, but saying is not deciding. Wanting is not deciding. Hoping is not deciding. A decision is a line in the sand. It's when you say, enough is enough. I won't tolerate this version of myself anymore. It's when you make a choice so firm, so non-negotiable, that nothing can talk you out of it, not fear, not doubt, not failure. When you decide, really decide, the universe starts to respond differently. Opportunities appear not because they were never there before, but because now you're tuned into them. You see them because your mind has shifted. You're no longer filtering life through excuses, you're filtering it through action. Decision creates direction. It gives you a path, a strategy, and the strength to follow through. And it doesn't mean you won't face obstacles. It means you'll face them with resolve. A person who's truly made a decision is unstoppable, because they've already burned the bridge behind them. They've removed retreat as an option. Making a decision is also the beginning of self-respect. When you decide, you stop betraying yourself with half-hearted efforts. You stop entertaining distractions, doubts, and toxic patterns. You start acting in alignment with the person you say you want to be. That kind of congruence creates real power. It builds identity, and identity is what drives behavior. You become someone who follows through, someone who creates results, someone who takes ownership of every area of life. It's not about being perfect. It's about being decisive. Because indecision kills dreams faster than failure ever could. Everything changes the moment you stop waiting and start deciding. That's when you reclaim control. That's when you stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen through you. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having enough courage to take the first step without them. You don't need more time. You need a decision that you're done waiting and ready to rise. Settling is one of the most silent and dangerous forms of self-sabotage. It doesn't come with alarms or flashing lights. It creeps in slowly, disguising itself as being realistic or accepting what is. But beneath that disguise is often a deep compromise of your potential. When you settle, you're not just staying where you are. You're abandoning the possibilities of who you could become. You begin to shrink your dreams to match your current environment, instead of stretching your mindset to match your true capacity. It might look like staying in a job you hate, tolerating a relationship that drains you, putting off your health, or silencing your voice to keep the peace. And at first, it might feel comfortable. But eventually, comfort turns into a cage. What people forget is that settling never comes without a cost. The cost is your energy, your self-worth, your growth, your future. It's easy to convince yourself that you're fine, that you've got it better than most, that you shouldn't complain, that this is just how life works. But deep inside, there's a voice that knows the truth. It's the voice that whispers when the world gets quiet. The voice that says, you were made for more. And the longer you ignore that voice, the more disconnected you become from yourself. Settling is not humility, it's hesitation. It's not wisdom. It's fear disguised as logic. People settle because they're afraid to lose what they have, even if what they have isn't serving them. They're afraid of the unknown, the uncertainty, the risk. But what they don't realize is that the greatest risk is staying stuck. Because time is moving whether you're growing or not. And every day you delay your potential is a day you'll never get back. People don't regret trying and failing. They regret not trying at all. They regret silencing their own voice to meet someone else's expectations. They regret letting fear make their choices for them. You weren't created to live a life of quiet frustration. You weren't born to be average. There's a reason your dreams exist within you. They're not random. They are signals, reminders of what's possible. But possibility demands pursuit. It demands courage. It demands the willingness to disrupt comfort and confront the unknown. When you choose not to settle, you tell the world, and yourself, that your life is worth fighting for, that your potential is worth chasing, that your purpose is worth discovering. Refusing to settle doesn't mean being reckless. It means being honest. Honest about what you really want. Honest about what no longer serves you. Honest about the fact that you've been playing small when you were built for something greater. And when that honesty becomes louder than your excuses, that's when transformation begins. It's not the conditions around you that have to change. It's the standard you hold yourself to. When you raise your standard, everything around you begins to rise with it. No one is coming to rescue you. It's a hard truth, but it's one of the most liberating truths you'll ever embrace. For most of life, especially when we're younger, we're taught that someone will come along to fix things. A parent, a teacher, a leader, a friend. We grow up with stories of heroes, of someone arriving just in time to pull us out of chaos, to save the day, to carry us to safety. But in real life, that person doesn't exist in the way we think. If you spend your time waiting for someone to fix your life, You'll be stuck in the same place year after year, wondering why nothing ever changes. And it's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't accepted that the responsibility to rise is yours alone. That doesn't mean you won't have help or support along the way. But no one can want your transformation more than you do. No one can make the decision to heal, to grow, to get back up, to break free. Except you. You are the only constant in your story. People will come and go. Opportunities will come and go. Circumstances will change. But you, your decisions, your discipline, your standards, those are what determine where you end up. It's easy to blame. To blame your past, your parents, the system, your boss, your partner, the world. But blame is a trap. It gives away your power and leaves you helpless. Taking full ownership of your life is not easy, but it's the only path to real freedom. When you realize that no one is coming to do it for you, you stop waiting and start building. You stop asking for permission and start claiming your space. You stop being a passive character in your story and become the author of it. This is where true self-respect begins. In the moment you choose to rise not because someone pushed you, but because you refused to stay down. When life hits you, and it will, you don't wait for someone to pick you up. You get up. You wipe the dirt off your soul, and you take the next step, even if it's shaky. This mindset separates those who break through from those who break down. Because the breakthrough doesn't come when things get easier. It comes when you get stronger, and strength is not built in comfort. It's built in struggle, in late nights, in early mornings, in painful lessons, in choosing to show up when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when it would be easier to quit. That's where character is forged. That's where greatness begins. You don't need a savior. You don't need someone to validate your pain or explain your worth. You already have everything you need inside you. What you need is to stop waiting and start moving. Your future doesn't belong to someone else. It belongs to you. Pain and failure are often misunderstood. Most people run from them, avoid them, or try to numb them. But the truth is, pain and failure are not your enemies. They are your greatest teachers. They are signals that something in your life needs to shift, grow, evolve. Pain shows up when you're being stretched, when you're out of alignment, or when you're holding on to something that needs to be released. Failure appears when you've stepped outside your comfort zone. When you've taken a risk, when you've tried to do something bold. The people who win in life are not the ones who avoid pain and failure. They are the ones who learn how to use them as fuel. Most breakthroughs are born from breakdowns. When everything seems to fall apart, when life hits hard, when the plan doesn't work. That's where growth begins. Because pain exposes what's weak and reveals what needs strengthening. It strips away the fake layers and forces you to confront the real you. And in that process, if you're willing to face it, pain can become the fire that forges resilience, clarity, and purpose. Every scar has the potential to become a story of strength, but only if you choose to respond, not retreat. Failure carries wisdom. It teaches what success never could. Success often tells you that everything's fine, but failure shows you what's broken. It humbles you. It sharpens you. It reveals gaps in your preparation, in your mindset, in your habits. But the power of failure isn't in the fall. It's in the decision to rise. It's in the way you interpret the experience. You can choose to let it define you, or you can use it to refine you. Every failure contains data. Every setback carries feedback. It's not the end. It's a redirection. Some of the most powerful people in history were born through deep pain. They found strength not in the absence of adversity, but in their willingness to endure it and grow through it. Their pain gave them empathy. Their failures gave them wisdom. Their wounds became their message. This doesn't mean pain is easy or that failure is fun. But if you can change the way you see it, you change what you gain from it. You can let it harden you, or you can let it shape you. Choosing to turn pain and failure into fuel requires mindset. It requires emotional maturity. It means asking better questions. Not, why is this happening to me? But, what is this trying to teach me? Not how do I escape this, but how do I grow from this? That shift is where power begins. The same fire that burns can also forge. The same pressure that breaks can also build. It depends on how you stand inside it. Whether you become bitter or better isn't decided by the pain itself. It's decided by your perspective and what you do next. Discipline is the invisible bridge between you are and who you want to become. It's not about being perfect or rigid. It's about showing up consistently for the life you say you want. Everyone has dreams, but few are willing to do what it takes daily to bring them to life. That's where discipline comes in. It's the decision to take action even when you don't feel like it, even when motivation has faded, even when the results haven't shown up yet. Discipline is doing the work when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no reward is guaranteed, simply because you made a commitment to yourself. Most people think success is about intensity, that burst of energy, the big leap, the overnight change. But real success is built through consistency. It's the daily grind, the unglamorous repetitions, the small choices made over and over again. It's waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It's going to the gym when your mind says skip. It's sticking to the plan when distractions are screaming your name. These moments are where champions are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Discipline is also a form of self-respect. When you live with discipline, you are telling yourself, I am worthy of follow-through. My goals are worth fighting for. My word matters. It's easy to talk big, to post quotes, to get fired up after a video or a book. But discipline isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and relentless. It doesn't depend on hype. It's built on commitment. And that commit to daily excellence becomes your edge in a world full of excuses. There's a reason most people don't reach their full potential. They chase feelings instead of committing to values. They work when it's easy and quit when it's hard. But those who develop discipline understand that feelings are temporary, but outcomes are permanent. They don't wait to feel inspired. They build habits that move them forward regardless of emotion. Because discipline isn't just about getting things done, it's about becoming someone who can be trusted with success. And yes, it's hard. It will cost you. It will require sacrifice, comfort, distractions, sometimes relationships. But the price of discipline is far less than the cost of regret. One day, you'll either celebrate the results of your discipline or you'll suffer the consequences of your neglect. Every choice you make is a vote for the future you're building. Either you're moving closer to your vision, or you're delaying it. There is no neutral. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And discipline is the system that keeps you grounded when everything else feels uncertain. It gives you something to lean when motivation disappears. It becomes the quiet force that carries you when excitement fades. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. It's not flashy, but it's effective. And when applied day after day, it becomes the foundation of an extraordinary life. The people you surround yourself with are shaping your mindset, your habits, your expectations, and ultimately your future. Whether you realize it or not, you are absorbing the energy, language, and standards of those closest to you. If you want to grow, to rise, to become someone who lives at their highest level, you must take a serious look at who's in your circle. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are they expanding your thinking or shrinking your dreams? Are they speaking life into your vision or feeding your doubt? The answer to these questions can determine how fast you move. or whether you move at all. You don't need people who tolerate you. You need people who challenge you. You need voices that call you higher, not ones that keep you comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Transformation requires truth. And sometimes, the most loving thing someone can do is confront your excuses, not coddle them. When you surround yourself with people who are hungry, disciplined, and committed to their own greatness, it forces you to level up. You can't stay average around people who are aiming for excellence. Their energy shifts yours. Their standards elevate yours. Their consistency inspires yours. That's the power of proximity. It can either fuel your fire or extinguish it. Most people stay stuck not because they lack talent or resources, but because they're surrounded by people who don't believe in big visions. They spend time with those who gossip instead of grow, who complain instead of change, who settle instead of strive. And the dangerous thing is, it becomes normal. Low standards feel safe. Small dreams feel cozy. But comfort zones are where dreams go to die. If you want to soar, you can't fly with anchors tied to your feet. Sometimes, that means making hard decisions. It means outgrowing people you love. It means loving some from a distance. It means having the courage to walk alone for a season until you find the right tribe. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to come with you, and that's okay. Your destiny is too important to sacrifice for the sake of keeping everyone comfortable. You owe it to yourself to curate your environment with intention. Seek mentors who have done what you want to do. Build friendships that are rooted in accountability and honesty. Connect with people who make you better just by being around them. Don't settle for a circle that claps for your comfort. Find the ones who won't let you settle. The ones who see your potential and refuse to let you waste it. That's how iron sharpens iron. Through friction, not flattery. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Their mindset becomes your baseline. Their effort becomes your benchmark. Their vision becomes your mirror. So be relentless about your circle. Be intentional about your tribe. Because when you elevate your environment, you elevate your entire life. Action is the ultimate form of commitment. No matter how big your dreams are or how clear your vision is, nothing changes until you take that first step. Too many people get trapped in the cycle of planning, analyzing, and waiting for the perfect moment. But perfection is a lie. The right time is a myth. Progress is born out of movement, not overthinking. Clarity comes from engagement, not contemplation. You can't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Every action you take builds momentum, and momentum is what separates dreamers from doers. There's a gap between where you are and where you want to be, and the only way to bridge that gap is through consistent, intentional action. Not massive leaps once in a while, but small daily choices that move you forward. Every time you act in alignment with your goals, you reinforce your identity as someone who follows through. You prove to yourself that your dreams are not just wishes. They're priorities. And the more you act, the more powerful you feel. Action creates evidence, and evidence builds belief. That belief turns into unstoppable confidence, not because you imagined it, but because you earned it. Waiting breeds doubt. Every moment you hesitate, your brain looks for reasons to stay still. Fear multiplies in the absence of action. You start creating stories in your mind what it won't work, why you're not ready, or why you'll fail. But once you move, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, you silence those voices. Action drowns out fear. It gives you something real to work with. It's better to take one imperfect step forward than to wait a lifetime for perfect conditions. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They take action. They fail, they fall, they adjust, but they keep moving. Action creates experience. Experience creates wisdom. Wisdom creates results. There's no shortcut to growth. There's no replacement for movement. You can read all the books, listen to all the podcasts, attend all the seminars, but if you don't apply what you learn, it's just shelf help, not self-help. A growth is not information. It's transformation through application. You don't need to know every step. You don't need a guarantee. You just need to decide that your dream is worth starting for. Action is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more risks you take, the more resilient you become. The more consistent you stay, the more unstoppable you feel. That's how you build momentum. One step at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. Most people wait to feel ready. But readiness is a result, not a requirement. Start before you're ready. Move before you're certain. Because every breakthrough begins with a moment of bold, imperfect action. Gratitude is one of the most powerful yet underrated forces in personal growth. It has the ability to shift your mindset, elevate your energy, and open the door to abundance in every area of life. Too often, people chase success, thinking it's somewhere out there. In the next achievement, the next milestone, the next win. But real success starts with appreciation for what you already have. It's not about settling or losing your drive. It's about anchoring yourself in a state of fulfillment that fuels your progress rather than chasing an illusion that happiness lives in the future. When you train your mind to see the good in every situation, you begin to change how you experience the world. A gratitude doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you're choosing to see purpose even in the imperfection. It's easy to feel grateful when things are going well. The real test is whether you can stay grateful when life challenges you. When things fall apart, when plans don't work, when the outcomes you wanted don't show up. That's when gratitude becomes a practice, not just a feeling. It becomes a discipline, a lens through which you view setbacks as setups, problems as possibilities, and pain as a platform for growth. Gratitude also grounds you. In a world that constantly tells you you're not enough, don't have enough, or need more to be happy, gratitude says, I am already blessed. And more is on the way. That's not denial. It's alignment. When you're grateful, you stop operating from a place of lack and start creating from a place of abundance. You stop waiting for external things to validate your worth and start realizing that the joy you're chasing can already be found in the present moment. The science backs this up. People who practice gratitude consistently are healthier, more optimistic, more resilient, and more connected in their relationships. But beyond the research, it's the real-world experience that counts. Gratitude shifts your focus. It pulls you out of the negative spiral and brings your attention to what's working, what's possible, and what's beautiful about your journey right now. That awareness fuels your mindset, your actions, and your relationships in ways that compound over time. And gratitude isn't just something you feel. It's something you express. Tell people you appreciate them. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Reflect on it daily. Gratitude grows when it's acknowledged. And the more you practice it, the more you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to walk through life with a sense of peace and power that's not dependent on outcomes. It's rooted in presence. Living from gratitude doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you strive from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. You build your dreams not to prove something, but to express something. The best version of who you are, already grateful, already whole, already enough. That mindset doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you perform better, connect deeper, and rise higher.